Welcome to Fractions Booklet 5, Adding and Subtracting Mixed Numbers with Like Denominators. We're going to start with page number 1 here. I'm going to zoom in on that top one there. How to add and subtract mixed numbers with like denominators. So I have 1 4/9 plus 2 1/9. The first thing I always like to do personally is I like to set up my fractions to the side right here. Just blank, just a fraction bar, nothing else. And the first thing I do is, okay, do I have any whole numbers? I put them out front like so. Because I just like to get them out of the way. We're not going to deal with them right now. We're going to deal with them later. So I just like to put them there because I don't have to basically think about that. So now I'm thinking, okay, I already have a common denominator. They both have 9. So I go ahead and I put the 9s down below it after that. So the denominators always stay the same, just like when you're dealing with fractions. Mixed numbers and fractions are very similar. So then you have to add the numerators together. So I have 4/9, 1 4/9 plus 2 1/9. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to add the whole numbers together and place it in front of the fraction. This is similar to the previous booklet. Always remember to simplify if necessary. So I see 1 plus 2 as my whole numbers, so I go ahead and add them up. That's 3. Then I think, okay, now I'm left with 4/9 plus 1/9. You know how to do that from the previous booklet. 4 plus 1 makes 5. 9 stays the same, so the final answer is 3 5/9. Moving on down, we're going to have 1 3/5 plus 2 4/5. This is really going to teach us how to basically convert a mixed number that has an improper fraction. So I have 1 3/5 plus 2 4/5. So again, I'm going to treat it the same process. 1 plus 2 makes 3. I'm going to add my numerators together and keep my denominators the same. So 3 plus 4, they add up to 7. My 5s will stay the same. So I have 3/5, 4/5. Now I have 7/5. Do not put tenths, it is fifths, because the denominators stay the same, just like in the example above. So now I know that that's equal from 7/5. I know that 3 7/5 is equal to 4 2/5. And I'm going to show you how that process worked. So I'm going to refer to this example right here. So I have 3 7/5. We know how we got there, but I need to show you how we got to 4 2/5. So for 3 7/5, I need to separate the improper fraction. So I'm basically going to have 3 plus, and I'm going to have the 7/5 separated out. Next, I need you to change the improper fraction into a mixed number. You know how to change 7/5 into a mixed number. We've already done that. That becomes, how many times does 5 go into 7? Once, with a remainder of 2. So I have 1 as my whole number, 2 as a numerator, and fifths. My denominator does not change. So I have 3 plus 1 2/5. Final step is to combine the whole numbers. I have 3, I have 1, they combine together to make 4. I still have 2/5 on the side. 4 plus 2/5 is just 4 2/5. So that's how you go from 3 7/5 into 4 2/5 right there. Okay, question number 3, how to subtract mixed numbers with like denominators with no ungrouping. So again, denominators are going to stay the same. You need to subtract the numerators. Subtract the whole numbers and place that in front of the fraction. This is also similar to the previous booklet. So I have a whole number of 3 minus a whole number of 2. So 3 minus 2 makes 1. Subtract my numerators. 4 minus 1 makes 3. So all I'm going to end up with is 1 3/5. Moving on to page number 5, we're going to show you how to ungroup a whole number into a mixed number. So I see with example 1, just below there, we have 8 minus 3/4. And so I need to be able to basically, how do I subtract a fraction from a whole number? Well, what you need to do is convert 8 into a mixed number. So 8 is the same thing as 8 and 0/4. Like, if you have 0/4, it's the same thing as 0. So it's just 8 plus 0 would be 8. So nothing's really changed there. It's just another way it's a different way to write it and make it easier on you. So what you can do is you could separate 1 away from the rest of the whole number. So I have 7 plus 1, that would make 8, obviously, plus 0/4. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh, I know that 4/4 is equal to 1. So I'm going to change that 1 into 4/4. Because if you simplified 4 divided by 4, you would equal 1. So I'm just doing the reverse of that. I'm just going backwards. So I have 7 plus 4/4 plus 0/4. Nothing's really changed. I've just basically have converted the 1 into 4/4. So now I can combine like terms. I'm going to add the fractions together, and you already know how to do that. What is 4/4 plus 0/4? Oh, it's 4/4. So you have 7 and 4/4 right there. So you're going to take that 7 and 4/4, and you're going to do the subtraction in the examples 1, 2, and 3 below. So I have 8 minus 3/4. It's the same thing as 7 and 4/4 minus 3/4. Now, because the denominators are exactly the same, you just subtract the numerators. What's 4 minus 3? It's 1. So you have 7 and 1/4. Now I can do it again. 8 minus 1 and 3/4. It's the same thing as 7 and 4/4 minus 1 and 3/4. Subtract the whole numbers, 6. Subtract the numerators because you can do 4 minus 3. That gives you 6 and 1/4. Then 8 minus 2 and 3/4. Same pattern again. 7 and 4/4 minus 2 and 3/4. 4 minus 3 you can do. 7 minus 2 is 5. So you can get 5 and 1/4. So notice the pattern in examples 1 through 3. You have 7 and 1/4. When you added 1 away in example 2, it was instead of 3/4, it was now 1 and 3/4. It went down by 1. 7 and 1/4 down to 6 and 1/4. Same thing with example 3. It went down by 1 more again, so it's 5 and 1/4. Once you convert the whole number into a mixed number, the pattern of solving is exactly the same as you've previously learned. There's no change to it. It's the exact same pattern over and over and over again. So with example 4, I have 7 and 5/8 minus 2 and 6/8. Now, since you can't subtract the numerators, you can't do 5 minus 6. That is not just 1, so do not assume that. It is not 1. 5 minus 6 is not 1. You will need to ungroup one whole number and convert it into a fraction, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I look down here below. I have 7 and 5/8. That's the same thing as 6 plus 1. I'm separating out 1 from the whole number, plus 5/8, just like we did above. And then that 1, I'm going to convert into 8/8, just like I did above as well. So now I have 6 plus 8/8 plus 5/8. So now I'm going to add the fractions together. I'm going to get 8 plus 5. That's going to equal a total of 13. So I have 6 and 13/8 now. And now that's what I'm going to substitute in for 7 and 5/8. Because 7 and 5/8 is exactly the same. It's basically a conversion of 6 and 13/8. So I'm going to place that back up there. I'm again going to subtract my 2 and 6/8. And now I can subtract 13 minus 6. So now I can subtract these two mixed numbers. 13 minus 6 is 7. 6 minus 2, subtract the whole numbers together, makes 4. So I'm going to end up with 4 and 7/8.